Imagine this. You just finished a huge project at work. People complimented you, told others, maybe even posted about it online. You come home excited to share with your partner, but instead of giving you a boost, they say, wow, must be nice to be everyone's favorite. You might laugh it off, try to lighten the mood, but they keep going. You know, it's funny how different you act around other people, like you need their approval that badly. So you start second guessing yourself. Was I too excited? Did I say something wrong? And when you try to tell them how their comment made you feel, they flip it back on you. I was just joking. You're being dramatic. If you've had moments like this where your wins are met with resentment, where your reality is constantly questioned, you might be dealing with narcissistic traits in your relationship. So today, we're gonna break down what that actually looks like, how narcissistic personality disorder, or NPD, shows up in relationships, and what you can do to take care of yourself in the process. Let's start with a clear definition. Narcissistic personality disorder is a mental health condition defined by patterns like a deep need for admiration, a lack of empathy for others, and a tendency to exploit relationships for self-esteem or control. It's often misunderstood as just arrogance, but it's more complex than that. And in relationships, it can be deeply confusing. So how does NPD tend to show up in relationships? Here are a few patterns to look out for. The first one is gaslighting. This is when your partner distorts reality to make you question your own perception. It can be subtle, like rewriting history during arguments, or more overt, like calling you too sensitive anytime you express a need or a concern. So over time, you start to doubt yourself. You might even start apologizing for things you didn't even do, just to keep the peace. The next one is resentment. This often shows up when you get a win. If you get a compliment, a promotion, or praise from friends, your partner may shut down, criticize you, or even try to one-up you. Instead of celebrating your success, they may feel threatened by it. This can create a dynamic where you start shrinking yourself, downplaying your wins, or even hiding good news, just to avoid the conflict. And another is idealization and devaluation. At first, the relationship may feel magical, right? You're the most amazing person they've ever met. But as time goes on, that becomes a heavy responsibility. And if you mess up in their eyes, suddenly you're cold, selfish, or not who they thought you were. This cycle, being lifted up and then torn down, can leave you feeling like you're always walking on eggshells. So what can you do if this sounds familiar? Let's take those 3 patterns and break them down on how to respond. So if you're being gaslit, you can start by anchoring yourself in reality. An easy start is to keep a journal or even voice notes. Record what happened and how it made you feel. This gives you a concrete reference point, and it also helps you stay grounded in your own experiences. Another is to use grounding language in the moment. You might say something like, I know that's not how it felt to me. Or, we may remember that differently, but I'm really clear on how I experienced it. Make sure to avoid arguing about reality. You don't have to convince them. You just need to stay connected to your own truth. So for resentment, the first thing you can do is name the pattern out loud, gently but directly. Something like, when I share something I'm proud of and you shut down or get upset, it makes me feel unsupported. Again, this isn't necessarily about convincing, but more about affirming your own truth. It's really important that you don't downplay your achievements. Practice celebrating them with people who can be happy for you. It reminds you that your joy is valid, even if your partner struggles to handle it. And if you're stuck in the idolize, devalue cycle, watch for the shift. When things move really quickly from you're perfect to you're the problem, that's a strong sign, not a reflection of your worth. The most important thing for all of these is to set emotional boundaries. Doing so with someone who shows narcissistic traits is essential, but it can also be really hard. So start by getting clear on what you need to feel safe and respected in that relationship. That might mean saying, I'm not gonna really tolerate being criticized when I express emotions. Or something like, I need my accomplishments to be met with support, not resentment. Remember though, a boundary is only effective if you're willing to enforce it. If they consistently ignore your needs, twist your words, or retaliate when you speak up, it may be time to step back and ask yourself, am I growing or shrinking in this relationship? Do I feel seen and valued, or confused and depleted? Am I constantly trying to earn love instead of simply receiving it. You don't need a formal diagnosis to decide something isn't working. Sometimes the healthiest choice isn't to try harder, it's to choose yourself. So if the relationship consistently leaves you confused, diminished, or emotionally exhausted, it's worth taking seriously. In less words, if something feels wrong, it probably is. Thanks so much for watching today. I hope this gave you some guidance to navigate these complicated relationships. If you feel like you're struggling to do so, or if you feel your partner could use more support, check out the first link in our bio to schedule a chat with us. Thanks again so much, and we'll see you soon.